By Jeremy Dillard and his close friends. And I've only been coming here a few weeks, but I just want to say I'm thankful for the hospitality and all that y'all have done. And also the great food, I gotta say. But, it sure is. Now, is it off?
Yep, it should be. Let's see here. I just washed my hands, so. Check 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's got to get up in it, Matthew.
All right. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So I've enjoyed hearing the testimonies so far that I've the weeks that I've been here. And just last week, I watched one of my close people in my life. They got saved by God. They felt the hand of God last week. And I'm a big believer in telling testimonies, and so I figured, I might as well tell mine. Whatever good that may bring. So I believe that a testimony is not only a story. A testimony is your entire life. When you stand before God, you're not just going to tell Him one story. You're going to tell Him your entire life. It's not going to be one story. It's going to be all of what you've done, your life, how you lived, how you acted, how you changed. So, that being said, I'm going to tell you how I met Christ. My first experience in encountering God. See, I wasn't raised in church. My parents were Christians, but they didn't want to force me to believe in something. They wanted me to come to it. I didn't have much knowledge of the Bible when I was younger. The only thing I really knew, I knew the story of, my mother used to tell me the story of Daniel and how he was in the lion's den and God gave him refuge and he made it through the night and he survived. But besides that, I thought Jesus was a pretty cool guy. I didn't know much about him, And so, that being said, one summer, a friend of mine invited me to summer Bible school. Now, in summer Bible school, I don't recall much from it except for the food. But they did give me something. They gave me a rock, and I have that rock right here. And on the rock, it has the faded letters of the word believe. Now, the rock didn't mean much to me at the time, so I just put it on a shelf. I didn't think much of it. Now, nothing significant so far in my life. As a child, I was pretty fun-loving. I just enjoyed being a kid. I didn't think much about life or philosophical questions, but I just enjoyed myself. Now, everything changed when I reached 5th grade. 5th grade is significant for 2 reasons. The first reason is I still thought that girls were icky. The second reason is I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. All right. Now, I didn't know that at the time. I had no knowledge of what I had at the time. But it all started out, I started having hyperventilation. I started freaking out in class. My nervous system wasn't computing right with my brain, and so I would just freak out. I would have no peace. There'd be no refuge. So that went on for a long time. It just kept getting worse and worse. And, well, over the course of time, as I kept having these attacks, I kept having to go to the nurse. Now, after you go to the nurse 8 times in one day, it raises a flag. So they started calling my parents repeatedly. My parents take me to the doctor. Doctor can't find out anything that's wrong with me because he's x-raying my body. He can't see anything. And he keeps saying it might be asthma, but because I had asthma when I was, like 4 or 5. So, but I knew what asthma was like. It wasn't asthma. Now, these attacks, they kept getting worse. And then, after I kept having to leave class so much, the teachers thought I was trying to skip. So I started getting punished. They started giving me more homework. They started ridiculing me outside of class, telling me, I know you're just trying to get out of class, things of that nature. Now, all that did was make things worse. So, what little refuge I had at home when it came to getting away from the stress of school, it suddenly reached my home. My parents started not to, of course they had to take the teacher's opinions into consideration. Maybe I wasn't telling the truth. But once I started having attacks at my home, they started realizing I wasn't faking. There's only, just to tell you how bad it would get, is I'd wake up in the middle of the night not breathing because my nervous system decided it was time to freak out. And so that went on for a long time. And most people that go through anxiety, they end up going through depression. Now, all of us have been through depression. We know what that's like. And you begin to look at the world in a much more sinister fashion. And the world becomes a much more darker place. You begin to look at things and see the darker side of reality. And, after a long time, I started to really hate life. I started to really hate everything around me. And to those that might say that a kid doesn't know the difference between love and compassion and love and hatred and despair, well, they do. And I started developing hate in my heart for my life and for the people around me because I started getting bullied at school. My friends disowned me. I was the kid that breathed too much, breathed too loud, couldn't keep a conversation because I'd have an anxiety attack and pass out. Because it was almost constant. And so one day, I was taken to a doctor and they sent me to a therapist to be psychologically evaluated. So when this happened, I went to the therapist. Instantaneously, he diagnosed me with anxiety. So what happens is, as you're growing up, is your body develops, so does your brain. A deviation went wrong in my brain, and it malfunctions with my nervous system. So that's what causes these severe anxiety attacks. And so he was able to diagnose that and see that. And he kept trying to give me methods and, resources on how to combat it. But it never really worked well. There's only so much therapy can do. And I began to really think about life and really think about, what is God? What is that presence that I keep hearing about? The one that speaks of love that I keep hearing. And I remember I kept trying to pray, and nothing would happen. And I'd pray every day, and it seemed like that it was to no avail, that there was nothing going on. And so, as I kept praying, I began to really hate God. I began to really hate the idea of God because it just didn't make sense. And so I started praying like a pagan. I just prayed anything to help me because I thought that I might be dying because I couldn't live that way. I couldn't see the hope in life anymore. There was no hope. There was no refuge. I had no calm moment, it seemed. Even in my sleep, I'd wake up. Now, the day came when I couldn't take it anymore. I came home from school one day, and I went into my room and I grabbed this rock, a rock that I got from Vacation Bible School or Summer Bible School. It had the words "believe" on it. I just grabbed it. I got on my knees and I was praying to Christ. I was praying to Christ. And in that moment, it was as if His nail-pierced hands had reached down from heaven into my room because I was given peace.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, John chapter 16, verse 33 says, "For in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, for I have overcome the world." Now,
Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
in this world you will have trouble, and I had trouble. Now, in that moment, when I was praying, I felt peace, and that's something, for someone like me, that I hadn't felt that in months, almost a year. And to be able to feel that, and I realized in that moment what God was trying to tell me is that I may have a disorder, but that does not make me the disorder.
That's right.
Right? And God is a God that can bring things into order. He can make chaos come to order. And He took my chaotic mind and He brought it to order.
Yes.
He gave me peace. And, sure, over the years I've struggled with it. I've had to come to terms with it. I've had to fight it and combat it. And they keep trying to put me on medication, but over the years I've learned to give it to God. And so over the years I have almost completely been rid of it. Through prayer, through constant, just praying to God, seeking refuge in the Lord.
Yes.
Rather than medication that made it worse.
Come on.
But my message here tonight is to basically say that God can bring chaos into order, just as He brought me to order. There is always refuge, and no matter how far you feel gone, no matter how far you feel entrenched in darkness, in depression, in wanting to end your life, there is always something that can bring you back to order. And that is God.
Yes.
Now, Christ, He's with us now. Through that time, it did hurt. I did go through pain. But Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30 says, blows that hurt cleanse away evil, as do stripes the inner depths of the heart.
Yes.
Now, I'm here to stand as a testament to God that these things, I have a bigger heart now. And I'm a better person. I'm someone that I feel God's presence in this room. I feel God's presence around us. And I just want to stand as a living testament as to what God can do for those in need with disorders or with anybody going through depression or anxiety. But you don't have to have a disorder to have anxiety. You don't have to have a disorder to have depression. It doesn't take those things. But He can still bring it to order.
Yes.
And that's all I just really want to say tonight. I just want to thank y'all for your hospitality. And I just want to say God bless y'all.